What is going on, Hawks Nation? Happy game day. We have game 6 in Atlanta tonight in State Farm Arena. Our Hawks are trying to even up the series versus the Milwaukee Bucks at 3-3 apiece. We have a massive night and really excited to get into the video. Today's video will be a game 6 preview of the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm taking a number of different callers from fans from all over the world today, and going to be hearing some thoughts of fellow Hawks fans and getting their opinions and keys to the game, what went wrong last game, and how we can hopefully fix that. So excited to be taking some callers for the evening today. This is not a live video, obviously, so I have scheduled callers calling in all throughout the video. So really excited to be taking these callers and seeing what their thoughts are for the game tonight. But man, this is a huge game. Massive game tonight. Vegas actually has us for the first time ever as favorites. Okay, we're -2 on the spread so far, what Vegas put us at. So for all you non-gamblers out there, that means that the Hawks are favored to win at least by 2 points, which is interesting because I think this is the first time since like the first round that the Hawks have actually been favored to win. The Bucks officially have announced that Giannis is out for today's game, which shouldn't be a surprise given the injury from Game 4 that he had. So prayers up to Giannis. But another golden opportunity. We squandered things in the last game. We had a great chance to go up 3-2 in this series without Giannis, but their role players really stepped up and answered the call. So hopefully our boys can retaliate and do the same thing. So for the call today, our first caller actually is Peyton.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail.
All right. So sorry about that, guys. So our first caller today is actually Peyton, calling from the great state of Georgia. Peyton, how are you, sir?
I'm good. How are you today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. We got a big game tonight, game 6 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Our Hawks are looking up to even up the series here, 3-3 apiece. Peyton, what went wrong in Game 5 just the other night? What were your thoughts about the game and just the overall result?
Well, Game 5, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind as what went terribly wrong, I think, was crashing the boards on both sides of the ball early in the game because it was just frustrating seeing how Milwaukee was able to generate all these second chance points for themselves off of missed shots early in the game, and of course it allowed them to create themselves a sizable lead that Atlanta was obviously never able to claw their way completely out of, and I think that really hurt us in the first quarter. It was just, especially when we have, monsters on the glass like Clint Capella, who was amazing in the regular season at grabbing those boards on both ends of the ball, seeing whether it was just Milwaukee was getting every lucky pass they needed off the rim or just Atlanta wasn't putting in the effort they needed to get those rebounds. It was just super frustrating seeing that they weren't able to, capitalize off those missed shots from Milwaukee, and I think that's always been the key to being able to beat the Bucks, those 2 games that we stole from them.
Yeah, absolutely, Peyton. Couldn't agree more. We got absolutely destroyed on the glass, and I said this in my last video. We probably didn't even secure our first rebound until maybe at like the 7th or 8th minute mark. So there was a stretch for like a full 4 minutes where our guys just couldn't get a damn rebound to save their lives. I agree. Yeah, that was probably the biggest thing, right? That set the tone early in the game, and then from there we were just in a hole and trying to claw our way back in. Looking ahead for Game 6 tonight in Atlanta, what are your keys to the game? What do you hope to see differently, and what do you think is going to be the reason why we win today?
Well, definitely off the bat, the first thing I want to see differently is what we just talked about, is the just being able to crash the boards better, because that's just inexcusable, honestly. I mean, it's very rare that you're going to win a game, especially in the playoffs when a team just dominates the boards early like that. But apart from the rebounding fiasco that we already discussed, I think one of the main things that we're going to have to look out for is limiting those role players, because Game 4, we had our role players step up when we didn't have Trae Young, and we saw what they can do. And then fast forward to Game 5 the other night, we saw, wow, Milwaukee also has those, Bucks players, those role players without Giannis that can really step up and, flip the switch and be the stars they need to get their team to win. So I think it's limiting the find their groove. I think Bogdanovich is finally starting to get to a point where that knee's not giving him too much trouble. I just think, come out like we did Game 4. State Farm Arena needs to be loud and just keep those role players in check.
Yeah, beautifully said. I said literally the exact same thing in my last video. Our guys really stepped up in Game 4. They took us for granted without Trey. I feel like we did maybe the same thing in Game 5. No Giannis. Maybe our guys thought it was going to be an easy victory, and all those secondary guys on the Bucks really stepped up. So, we've seen what they can do now without Giannis. I think we're going to be prepared. We're going to be a lot just more aware of what's going to happen, and I think Coach McMillan has a clear game plan for tonight. Before I let you go, Peyton, what are your final score predictions for the game tonight?
As nervous as I am feeling good about tonight because, like you said, I trust Coach Nate to make those adjustments. I don't think either team will run away with it like we've seen in the last 2 games, though. But with it being home court advantage and how well we showed out in State Farm Arena last time, I'm gonna say 105-98 Atlanta.
I love it, man. Yeah, I think our boys are going to come out tonight and show up and show out and get this W in front of our home crowd. Peyton, really appreciate you taking the call. Before I let you go, where can our listeners here at Hawks Fan TV find you? What's your Twitter and what's your name?
So my full name is Peyton Willis, but the best way to find where I'm always talking about the Hawks is definitely on my Twitter, which is my Twitter handle is Peach State Peyton, which is Peach ST and then Peyton PAYTON.
All right. Well, Peach State Peyton, I really appreciate the call today, and let's go Hawks, baby.
Yeah, see you. True to Atlanta.
Absolutely. Have a good one. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from our first caller, Peach State Peyton. I've been following him on Twitter for a while now, and he's a diehard Atlanta fan. Tweets all things Atlanta sports. So glad he was able to join the show today and give us our thoughts. We're going to be taking our next caller here shortly. Kings Realm ATL, another fellow Atlanta native. So he's going to be joining in any second now. But yeah, Peyton, great points. I feel like maybe you might have seen my last 2 videos, hopefully, or maybe it's just a pure coincidence. But yeah, our role players stepped up in Game 4. They showed up and showed out and, obviously punched the Bucks in the mouth. The Bucks did the exact same thing and threw some haymakers at us in their home court in Game 5. All of our guys should be fully prepared, fully ready, no surprises. I'm assuming Bobby Portis is most likely going to start again tonight in Giannis's absence. So we're really going to have to lock down the paint, limit those possessions, eat up the glass. I'm looking at you, Clint Capella. I'm looking at you, John Collins. And we're really going to need to limit those offensive and defensive possessions from their end. I honestly think we should actually start Cam at the 3. That gives us a lot more versatility on defense, a lot more size and length, and it's going to counter the Bucks starting lineup. So with Cam starting and Luke coming off the bench where I think he's best suited for, that puts every single one of the Hawks starters tonight at 6'6" and above. Like, these guys are tall. Bogey's a legit 6'6", 6'7". Kevin Huerter 6'7". John Collins 6'9". Cam Reddish is teetering on like that 6'9", 6'10" height. And then of course Clint Capella at 6'10", 6'11". So that gives a lot of length and size with that particular starting lineup. I hope Coach McMillan does that, but I don't think he actually will. So fingers crossed. Again, like I said in previous videos, Coach McMillan has a tendency to lean more on his vets, those more experienced guys. If you really think about it in the grand scheme of things, Cam has only played in 2 real games since coming back from his injury. So yeah, it's gonna be a dogfight tonight. Okay, it's gonna be a dogfight. And now we've seen what the Bucks can do. Okay, we saw what the Bucks did with Bobby Portis starting. Like I said in my last video, maybe a lot of our players were expecting Pat Connaughton to start, who's more of that traditional 3 kind of wing player. With Bobby Portis in the starting lineup, that's legitimately 3-4 power forward / centers that the Bucks are rolling out. Okay, so you got PJ Tucker, Chris Middleton, Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis. These guys are all big and tall and strong, and we're gonna need to counter that. I think Bogey and Kevin Huerter should be starting in the backcourt. We've experimented with that lineup when Trey had his ankle injury late into the season, where Bogey and Kev were our 1 and 2, and it worked out pretty well, okay? Worked out pretty well. And not only Cam starting would be a massive upgrade from a defensive standpoint, but again, just a lot more versatility, a lot more rebounding. And yeah, I hope we see Cam. I'm curious to hear what you guys think. I feel like 70% of the fan base is like a diehard Cam Reddish fan. They have all the faith and confidence in the world in him. And then there's like 20-30% of Hawks fans that still don't see it. They think he's a bust, or he's never going to pan out. His offense is too inconsistent. He has too many turnovers. His ball handling's not there, whatever the case may be. I'm on the Cam fan bus. Like, I've been on him since day one. And given those minutes, he's played 20-plus minutes in the last 2 games. And it's worked out pretty well. He hasn't been taking that many shots. I feel like Coach McMillan is really utilizing him as like kind of our defensive specialist, kind of just sit in the corner, wait for open jump shots. But he needs to have the green light. Like, his offensive repertoire and skill set is so unique and it's so gifted that he needs to just explore more of just than a catch and shoot type of player. Maybe Coach McMillan's only doing that right now because he is coming back from injury, but we can see what he can do. He can drive to the lane. His ball handling needs to get a little bit more crisp. That'll come in time. More runs, more practice. Last offseason was really weird with COVID and all that, so he hasn't had like a full offseason under his belt under Coach McMillan. All of our guys have performed better since Coach McMillan has taken over, and all Cam Reddish knows is our previous coach, Lloyd Pierce. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens tonight. It's going to be, like I said, a dogfight, and we're going to need to really buckle down and play with that intensity that we had in Game 4, okay? That intensity that we had, and it all starts on the defensive end. It all starts on the defensive end, and man, it's so disappointing and frustrating because when our guys are focused and locked in, we can play some solid defense. We can get and crash the boards. I mean, we saw in Game 1, JC and Clint Capella had like 30-plus rebounds combined between the two of them. It's just the effort that sometimes is a little bit in question for me. And I don't want to blame McMillan on that because that happened a lot in the Lloyd Pierce era. This new Hawks team, ever since Nate has taken over, it's usually high effort, high energy every single night. Like I said on Twitter, that game in Game 5 was one of the most shocking things that I've seen because we just came out so flat with absolutely no energy. And I pray to God, and I'm pretty sure that's not going to happen this game. But we're going to wait and find out. So we have our next caller on. We got King's Realm ATL. King's Realm, how are you, good sir?
I am good. How are you, Hawks Fan TV?
Man, I am good. I'm good. Appreciate you joining the call today. And we got a big game ahead of us. We got a massive game ahead of us tonight. Our boys are looking to tie it up 3-3 in the Eastern Conference Finals. King's Realm, what were your thoughts from the last game, though, in Game 4, and what went wrong?
Like I said, man, it was just no effort, no defense, and Brook Lopez looking like Tim Duncan. I don't understand it, but we disrespected him before the show because Brook Lopez is a baller. He showed that. He showed that he's a baller, but when it comes to the Hawks, we have to play better inside defense. Capella has to be better on the inside. He has to. That's where he's supposed to take over games. Capella has to play better on defense. If we get that, we'll be fine. No Giannis against the Knights, so let's go out there and do our thing.
Yeah, I agree, man. We made Brook Lopez and Bobby Portis look like 2 Hall of Fame players. Like, that was ridiculous. I actually said this in my last video in the Game 5 breakdown. Like, as much as I was surprised of Brook Lopez's performance, it really isn't that surprising when you really think about the type of player he is. And without Giannis, that whole middle of the paint area just opens up for Brook, and we can obviously see what he's capable of once given the opportunity. His usage rate, the Bucks make him kind of that stretch five, right? We're so accustomed to seeing Brook Lopez just stand on the three-point line, letting Giannis and Chris Middleton do their thing. But without Giannis, I feel like Brook Lopez's skill set is really elevated and really brought to light because he's a traditional big man. Like he can get down low, he can body you up, back you down, kind of that back to the basket style. So I don't think our Hawks players were ready for that. I don't think that we expected them to go that big with Bobby Portis starting. I went on record saying that Pat Connaughton was going to get the nod, to play more of that traditional three wing player. But man, they came out with Bobby Portis, essentially, three power forward / centers in that starting lineup, and their size definitely was a big thing against us. What do you see in Game 6 tonight? What do you think we do differently, and what are going to be your keys to the game for us to pull out this W?
All right. Before I answer those questions, I do want to comment on your Brook Lopez comment. Yes, he is a traditional big, but with Giannis being out, that helps him become that big man that he was when he was at Brooklyn. Like, big man post you down, and that's something the Hawks had a problem with. Leading into your first question, to win, we've got to stop Brook Lopez from being dominant in the paint. We have to. We have to make them shoot the ball. So if they're shooting the ball, we're fine. But if they're getting easy, fast break layups, their defense is high, and we fall in this game short, I don't think the crowd will be able to bring us back.
Yeah.
Now, if Trae Young plays, that's totally different. But I'm speaking only without Trae Young. If Trae Young is not playing in this game, if we lose the crowd early, this game is over and we going home.
Yeah.
And I don't see them coming out. So okay, so for us, how do we do that? The way we do that, easy buckets. For them, flip side is our better offense. Easy buckets, great defense. No early fast breaks, none of that. Get easy in the paint scoring. Go at Brook Lopez early so he can't beat you late. Run him early. Everybody, let's go at Brook. You want to be in the paint? Let's go at Brook Lopez. Even if you're missing the basket, just go at Brook Lopez. Let everybody else around. Chris Middleton, I'm not worried about him. He's due for an off game. It's coming. Hopefully it's Game 6. So that's how we win this game tonight, Hawks fan.
Yeah, I agree, man. I completely agree. The only thing I want to challenge you on is, even if our boys do come out flat, which I don't think they will, but let's just say some crazy night happens and they go on a massive run and we see ourselves down by 15, 16 points at some point. I've learned already from this postseason, this whole regular season, that this Hawks team, since Nate has taken over, we can never count these guys out. Even if we do go down by that many, I'm not doubting these Hawks anymore. So yes, I agree. Ideally, I don't want to see us going down. If anything, I want us to go on a massive run and be up 20 points just like last in Game 4. But even if we do see ourselves in a little bit of a deficit, I still think we can pull out the W. But yeah, I agree, man. We need the crowd in it all night, which they will be. State Farm's going to be rocking and popping. It will be, man. This is the biggest game in Atlanta Hawks history. Like, our boys are going to show out. The fans are going to be screaming, yelling on their feet 24/7. So I have faith on the boys tonight. What are your final?
This is the thing. Okay, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
This is the thing. Also wanted to touch on. Even if they just say Trae can't play and he doesn't start, the energy knowing that Trae could potentially come in the game is going to throw the Bucks off. That is something that I think Coach Bud is not going to do a good job with, is if Trae can play, but he doesn't start. But you can go ahead with your question.
Yeah. What are your predictions for the game tonight? Game 6, we look to try to tie it up 3-3. What are your final score predictions at the end of the game tonight, Kings Realm?
Final score prediction. I like that one. I'm going to go 115 know who wins. 115 to 107, but Hawks in 7. There you go.
Okay, well, but judging by your last comment, Hawks in 7, that means that we're gonna win tonight. So hopefully that's the case. I love it, man. I love it. I agree. I think our boys are gonna come out and win. This has kind of been kind of that story, storybook tale so far for us. I feel like every time we think the Hawks are out and they're gonna lose, they just keep surprising us. And yeah, I mean, we got to win 2 in a row.
Yeah, and what's interesting about this situation? This is different. Every time we went on the road, we've always either been tied or we've been up. This time we're losing, and it's an elimination game. So this is another different adversity that we haven't seen in the playoffs yet. Like, if we go on to win this series, what if we lose game 1? That is different. We've won every game 1. So that is something we also have to think about, because this is another adversity.
That's a great point. That is a great point, and I didn't even really think about that. You're absolutely right. Every series we've been in, we've had the lead. We haven't faced an elimination game up until that game 7, but again, that was tie. We were winning the whole entire series. This is the first time this young Hawks team is down 3-2 in the playoffs, and yeah, backs against the wall, win or go home. I have all the faith in this team, and I think this is just another chapter of what's going to make the full story of this Hawks 2021 championship run going to be so special. And we gotta take 2 in a row to move on to the finals, and I think we have the DNA and the makeup and the right group of guys to do that. Will they do that is a different story, but we'll see. We'll see at the end of the day. Kings Realm, I appreciate you joining the call today. Before I let you go, where can the listeners find you? What is your Twitter? The people want to know.
Oh, yes, most definitely. Thank you for inviting me. But you can find me on Twitter at Kings Realm ATL. That's my Twitter handle, and you can see all my work on Forever I Love Atlanta Sports Podcast on YouTube. Hawks Fan TV will be on tonight. He's been doing the last 3 post games with him. Post game starts at 11 p.m. We keep it real and we talk Hawks, man. Hawks Fan TV knows how we do on our show. But shout out to everybody that listening. Thank you for encouraging and joining the call. And shout out to Hawks Fan TV for having King on the call.
Absolutely. You're welcome anytime, Kings. I appreciate you joining. And I'll see you later tonight. But let's go. We need this W, and Hawks in 7, baby. Let's do it.
Oh, you're right. Hawks in 7. All right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Have a good one. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard from our second caller. That is Kings Realm ATL. You heard the man. Hawks in 7. I agree. And yeah, he brings up a really good point. Every single time in this postseason, we've had to face a different challenge, right? And now our boys have actually never been down 3-2 at all at any point in this playoffs. This is win or go home, elimination game. That's not a game 7. We have to win 2 in a row. Now, in the grand scheme of things, that's a difficult task, especially against a very, very good Milwaukee Bucks team. Winning 2 in a row against any team is hard, but especially at this point in the playoffs against a title contender in the Bucks, that's going to be a tough, tall task. But like I said to Kings, this is the team to do it. If anyone can do it, it's these guys. Oh man, no Giannis. We should have won last game, but shoulda, coulda, woulda. But we have every opportunity tonight to redeem ourselves. We have to tie it up 3-3, build that momentum, head back to Milwaukee for a game 7. And if we can win in a crazy environment like Philadelphia against the number 1 overall seed, MVP runner-up in Joel Embiid, and we were able to win that game, grind them out, and just come out with the W, I think that's what's going to happen in Game 7 against Milwaukee. Granted, we did have a healthy Trae Young in that series, but we'll see. Speaking of Trae, my gut tells me that he is not going to play tonight. As much as I would love to see him play, I just don't think he is. Especially from the comments that Nate McMillan had earlier. he was basically saying, it's all about just the level of discomfort that he's experiencing. And if he feels like he can contribute and he feels like he can play well enough to help his team win, that's going to be the deciding factor on whether or not Trey actually wants to decide to suit up or not. He wants to deep down, obviously. He's a dog. He has that killer mindset. He's the most competitive player on the court, 99% of the time. He's going to want to play, but he's such an unselfish person, and he doesn't want to hurt the team in any way, that if he does go on the court, he might be a defensive liability. Not that he isn't already as he is fully healthy, but especially now, basically playing on 1 foot. He's not going to be able to drive and use his explosiveness and quickness to beat his defender off the dribble. That's going to ultimately help with his three-point shot and help drive into the paint, kick it out to an open man, lob it up to Clint or John. He's not going to be able to do a lot of those things if he can't put a lot of pressure on his, left foot or right foot? I don't remember. But yeah, my gut tells me he's not going to play. Now, if we force Game 7 and we win tonight, what is today, Saturday? We'll play, Monday night? At that point, I think Trey will play. At that point, you kind of have to. I mean, you have to play tonight. But I think the mindset and the mentality is, we're playing back at home. We got our home crowd in front of it to be our sixth man. Our guys are going to be more energized. They're going to want to redeem themselves from last game. So maybe we're thinking, okay, our guys can win tonight. We can do it again. But Game 7 in Milwaukee, I can almost say with 100% certainty that Trey will actually play that game. But whether he plays tonight, that's still up in the air, man. It's tough. I hope he plays, but I don't think he will. I hope I'm wrong. So we'll see. We have a next caller coming and joining the show shortly here. His name is Luke from Lafayette, Indiana. Okay, so first-time caller that's not from Atlanta. So excited to have Luke on here in just a couple of moments. But yeah, it's going to be a straight battle, a grind today. And I hope, A, Trae Young plays, and B, Cam Reddish gets the start. If Trae Young doesn't play, we need Cam to start, okay? As much as I love Lou Williams, and I'm curious to hear you guys' thoughts in the comments below, but Lou is best suited for an off-the-bench kind of role player, okay? He's that spark plug. He's that instant offense that we can get against their second unit. So I'm excited, and yeah, I hope that's what happens. So as I mentioned, we have our third caller coming in. His name is Luke from Lafayette, Indiana. Luke, you're on Hawks Fan TV. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Really appreciate you calling in and giving your thoughts for our Hawks. You're actually our first caller today that's not from the state of Georgia. So are you originally from Atlanta and then you moved to Indiana, or how'd you become a Hawks fan?
No, they're just kind of the first team I watched on TV when I was a kid, and then obviously they've made some really good draft picks in the past few years, so it's been pretty easy to root for them. They're a bunch of good guys. Love Trae Young, huge Trae Young fan. Yeah,
absolutely. Trae is the superstar that this team has desperately needed. So in the past 20 years. So really glad that you're on the Hawks bandwagon. At what year did you become a Hawks fan? Just curious.
Honestly, I think the first time I saw him on TV was probably 2011, but it was a little bit easier to root for them, when they were good, 2015, 2016, when they were the one seed.
Yep.
And then I've been a huge fan ever since they drafted Trae Young, because he's one of my favorite players. Even when they were 7 and 55, bottom of the NBA, I've still been a fan. So it's kind of nice to claim them as my team, now that they're in the Eastern Conference Finals. So
yeah, I love it. And this is just the beginning, Luke. This team is just getting started, and I see a lot of trophies and MVPs coming down to Atlanta in the near future. So Game 5, we got destroyed since the moment of the beginning of the tip-off till the very last whistle in the fourth quarter. What went wrong in Game 4? What were your thoughts about the game? Or Game 5, excuse me.
I think it came from a lack of intensity on both sides before, offense and defense. And a little bit of mismanagement in Game 5. There wasn't really a whole lot of off-ball movement. It was kind of a lot of one-on-one. But there were times where we didn't really even get a good possession. We'd just come down, jack up a bad shot, or turn the ball over 5 seconds in the possession. So it's kind of just a whole lot of lack of intensity from a few guys out there, and just a lot of mismanagement from the game perspective on the players. And sometimes I'm like wondering why certain people are out on the court at certain times. So that's what it boiled down to me, was lack of intensity and mismanagement.
Yeah, you're absolutely right, and this has been the common theme that every single caller has had so far, and this is what I said in my last post-Game 5 breakdown. There was no effort, no heart. We just came out so flat that entire first quarter, which really put us in a deep hole. But hopefully that changes tonight. There should be no surprises. We've seen what this Bucks team can do without Giannis on the court, and I don't think we're going to underestimate them. Not that we even should have in the first place, but we're back at home in State Farm Arena. You already know the boys are going to be pumped up, ready to play in front of the home crowd. What do you see happening tonight? What are your keys to victory for Game 6 in Atlanta?
So keys to victory would obviously be limiting Lopez early on. I haven't really been pleased with Capella's defense lately. I'd like to see more Kongwu on him. He's been one of the better defensive players this series, in my opinion. Also need to be more assertive and not even assertive. I think that whoever's guarding Middleton needs to just pick him up and be intense from the start. That's why I love when Reddish is on him, because, he picks him up pretty much at least a half court, and he's right up on him, whereas when Bogdanovich or Kevin, when they're guarding him, they give him a few feet of space, and he's just going to shoot over that, where with Reddish, the only time Middleton's going to score on him is if he's getting the basket and getting a good move off. So we're going to have to pick up the intensity on defense, and then honestly we're just going to have some shots fall, because that's kind of our hit or miss this season, is if people have the hot hand or not. Like with Lou Williams or Bogdanovich last game, they were pretty off, so that kind of hurt us. But Kevin, he's obviously going to get his. He's going to go for 12 to 15 a night. Sometimes he might go for 20, 25, but it's can't have Bogdanovich shooting 30% from three, and everyone else kind of just shooting pretty poor from the field. So smarter shot selection, and I think they come out and they feed off the energy in State Farm Arena, and I think they pull it out tonight. I would say they probably win by anywhere from 6 to 8 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout, but I think they come out with intensity from the tip, and they'll be fine. Especially, do you know if Trae Young's playing tonight, or is he out again?
Yeah, he's questionable, just like the past 3 games. I don't think he's going to play. So I wouldn't bet that we see him tonight. I hope he does, but we'll see. But I doubt it.
Well, with or without him, it just comes from intensity, honestly. Because the first game he was out, they came out and they played their hearts out, and they looked like the best they had all postseason without him. And then the last game, they kind of just fell apart from the jump. So they just have to come out with intensity from the jump, and I think they'll be fine.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll see a lot of changes this game. I have faith in Coach McMillan to properly game plan now that we've seen what they can do in the last game. So hopefully we don't come out flat, which I don't think will be the case. Before I let you go, what are your final score predictions for the game tonight?
I'd say Atlanta probably scores about 109. I got Milwaukee with 101. Middleton probably goes for about 27. They have a pretty balanced offense with Holiday, Middleton, and Lopez and Portis. And then I would say with Atlanta, we probably just have 6 or 7 guys going for about 15 apiece. I feel like everyone's probably going to hit their shots tonight, since everyone was kind of off last game. We never really had a series this postseason yet where people are just off multiple nights in a row. So I'd say, it's probably going to be intense on defense. I'd say it's probably going to be a little bit of a shootout. So.
Yeah, hey, if we have 5 or 6 guys in double digits scoring 15 plus points for us, we're in a good spot. So I hope that's the case. That's exactly what happened in Game 4, which led to our blowout victory. So I want to see the ball movement. I want to see the teamwork, the camaraderie, and just the maximum effort that we showed in Game 4. So really appreciate you calling in today, Luke. And before I let you go here, what is your Twitter handle for all the listeners out there?
My Twitter handle is @LukeDeHaan, DEHAHN. You can see by my handle, by my bio,
Absolutely. Well, love it, Luke. Again, appreciate your time today. Thanks for calling in, and have a good one. Hawks in 7, baby.
Hey, Hawks in 7, that's a good
Yes,
one.
sir. Well, yeah, that was our fourth caller. What was it? Third caller. We have one more caller calling in soon here in just a minute. But yeah, Luke from Lafayette, Indiana. You heard the guy. Became a Hawks fan back in like 2011. That was like the Joe Johnson, Josh Smith era. So glad you're on the squad. Glad you're supporting the Hawks, and love the fact that you're a Trae Young fan. I'm sure we've seen a lot of fans over the recent years that have come on because of Trae Young and some of these draft picks. So we got the last caller of the day here. We got Paul from Portsmouth, UK. Okay, so our first British fan calling from overseas. Paul, how you doing? Welcome to Hawks Fan TV.
Hawks Fan TV, thank you for having me on, Alex. I really appreciate it. Big fan of the page. I'm actually a huge Hawks fan, maybe one of the few over here in the small town of Portsmouth, but really looking forward to the game tonight. As you can know, probably a late night or early morning for me, as you can tell with the time difference.
Yeah, absolutely, Paul. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, NBA, I used to work with a lot of British people back in my old job, and they were big soccer fans, as you know, over there in the UK. But yeah, basketball, the NBA is slowly becoming a lot more popular over there in the UK. So excited to see Hawks fans from the UK popping out. This is an exciting time to become a Hawks fan. So we welcome you with open arms, Paul. For game 5 last game in Milwaukee, Paul, what went wrong? What were your thoughts about the game, and why did we lose by so much?
Yeah, watching a lot of American media, I mean, you would have thought that the Hawks lost by 40 or had one of the worst games of their season. But to be honest, as a fan, I'm not too entirely disturbed by the loss. I understand it's a loss; you never want to lose, but you have to understand to come back on the road and the Hawks showed us that same result, and to equate it into a European equation, maybe a bit like a soccer team. If it wasn't for that 20-point lead that I think Milwaukee gets out to earlier, I really do think the Hawks are in that game. I mean, they let Brook Lopez turn back the clocks of time by playing like Brooklyn Lopez, and a few external factors there, but the Hawks are still in that game at halftime, cutting it to a 9-point game. Now, something that obviously that we've seen from the American media and even some outlets here is, the offensive rebounding was just a disaster. I mean, it looks like the Hawks were outsized, outmanned. I mean, just the effort was not there on the board. So I'd like to see that change, for the series, hopefully for Game 6 and moving forward to a possible Game 7.
Yeah, 100%, Paul, 100%. That's exactly what every single caller has said so far today. The lack of defensive intensity, the lack of effort on the glass. I expect that to change, and hopefully our boys come out strong tonight, set the tone, and punch the Bucks in the mouth. Looking ahead for tonight, Game 6, we're trying to tie it up 3-3. Biggest game in Atlanta Hawks franchise history. What is going to be your keys to the game tonight for us to come out with this W?
So, news does travel a bit fast here in the NBA circuit. So, can you tell me, is Trae Young playing tonight? Have they given that diagnosis yet, or prognosis for the game?
We haven't officially listed him as out or playing yet. The last report we had was questionable for Trae Young, so I'm most likely going to assume he's a game-time decision, just like the last 2 games. I'm assuming probably 30 minutes before tip-off is when we'll know if Trae's going to play. My gut tells me he's not, though, Paul. I don't think he's going to, as much as I'd love to see him. I just don't think he's going to play.
Understood. So we'll operate my end, so, moving forward as if Trae's not playing in the game. And I really do think that for the Hawks to win tonight, they're going to need another vintage performance from Lou Williams. He really was the straw that was stirring the drink on that Game 4 victory. And I think if he can replicate, I'd say even 80 to 90% of what he did in that game, I think we have a good chance. Also, just, to piggyback off what we talked about Game 5, we cannot get manhandled like that and have to bring defensive intensity from the first minute of this game, because I think if we, come out a little bit slow, the Milwaukee Bucks, they're playing with a chance to get into the finals, so we just cannot, let them come in there and punch us in the mouth like they did in Game 5.
I completely agree, Paul. I said this earlier in the video, but I think the mindset and the intensity and just the sense of urgency is going to be at an all-time high. We had a previous caller saying that, the Hawks have never been in this position, right? We face so much adversity every single step in the playoffs so far, but we've been winning every single playoffs. The only elimination game that we've played in was that Game 7 against the Philadelphia 76ers, and we won. But this is the first time the Hawks have actually been down in a playoff series, which is scary, and we have to win 2 in a row in order for us to make it to the finals. So I have faith in this team. I think we're going to pull it out and, go to the punch our tickets into the NBA Finals hopefully by next week. So, Paul, really appreciate you calling. Again, first Brit from overseas to call in. By the way, are there a lot of Hawks fans from where you're at right now? Do you see Hawks jerseys or?
So we'll say, I'll be honest with you, not too many Hawks fans, but I am starting a blog here for the Atlanta Hawks Portsmouth fan club, and looking to travel to bigger cities such as London, about an hour north from me. So hopefully we can build that base and just keep it going. But I'll tell you this: if they keep winning and playing like they are, they're going to have fans all over the world.
Absolutely, Paul. You couldn't be more right. Keep fighting the good fight. I love the fact that we have fans popping up from all over the world. That's exactly what this channel is made for, to hear the thoughts and insights from people just like you in different countries, different parts of the universe. And I love it, man. Like, Hawks in 7, really appreciate you calling in. I know it's pretty late over there for you. I think it's like already, 8 o'clock or something? I think it's a 5-hour time difference.
Just after dinner here, and like I said, I'll probably take a little bit of a nap and be awake for that game about 3 a.m. on time.
Absolutely. Well, we'll keep spreading the good word of the Hawks over there in the land of the Brits. And again, have a great day, and hopefully we come out with this W. Hawks in 7, Paul.
Appreciate it. Keep doing your thing, Hawks Fan TV. Big fans over here.
Absolutely. Bye. So, wow. Our first British fan calling in to the show, Paul from Portsmouth. I'm curious. I kind of want to look that up. Where is Portsmouth? But yeah, he said it was about an hour, south of London. So it's so cool, guys. That's so cool that we're seeing all these Hawks fans popping up. Whether you're a brand new fan that just joined this year, or you've been a diehard fan like me for the past 2 decades, I don't care. I welcome every single one of you guys, no matter what race, religion, creed you are, sexuality. I don't care. If you like the Hawks, you're part of the Hawks Fan TV family. But that's it for today's video, guys. Was really curious, wanted to do this type of video just to hear some thoughts of other fans and what their opinions were for the game. But the true keys to victory tonight, have our role players stepping up just like they did in Game 4. Okay, don't take the other team for granted. These are NBA caliber players. We've seen what they can do without Giannis, and expect Brook Lopez, Bobby Portis, Chris Middleton, those guys to continue to play like they did play. They're going to bring the energy. Like Paul just said, they are 1 win away from the NBA Finals. I don't think the Bucks have ever made it this far from a team either. So they're hungry. We got to match that intensity, and we need to bring this back to Milwaukee for a Game 7. I love you guys. Happy game day, and Hawks in 7, baby. Let's get this W.